I used to love examination. Myself and Nagaratna, Normally people get afraid about exams, but
Exactly.
we used to love exam, because the root cause of all these centuries are rooted in Manomaya Kosha as Adi. That comes down and becomes a Vyadhi. It should all develop itself into a single family, one world, one family, one future. And that is what is needed in the world. And only yoga can do that. Nothing else can do.
Very true.
Any amount
Very
about
true.
talk will not help.
Namaste to all the yoga sadhakas. Welcome to Yogānubhava series on this Guru Purnima Day. And today we have one of my Guruji as well, Dr. R Nagendra ji, joining us. Welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation and being the first person to be sharing the experience at this series. So I think he's a person who needs no introduction. I think he's everybody's household name for everyone. But in spite of that, I'll make an attempt to introduce him to all of you today. Dr. R Nagendra, born in a respectable family, completed his PhD in mechanical engineering from Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. After serving for a short stint as a faculty at IISc, joined University of British Columbia as a postdoctoral research fellow. He joined NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center as a postdoctoral research associate and to Imperial College of Science and Technology as a consultant in 1972 and visiting staff. He joined Vivekananda Kendra during 1975 as an old-time worker and served as a secretary All India. He worked as secretary Vivekananda Kendra Yoga Therapy and Research Committee, and he was also the All India Vice President of Vivekananda Kendra, Kanyakumari. From 1986 to 2000, he was the secretary of Vivekananda Kendra Yoga Research Foundation, Bangalore, and the director of Indian Yoga Institute. From 2000 till date, he is the president of Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthana, and he served as a vice chancellor of Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthana, the premier yoga university from 2002 to 2013, and currently serving as a chancellor from 2013. And it's my privilege to be part of this university as well. Published 30 research papers in engineering and authored 150 papers on yoga and co-authored 35 books on yoga. Guided nearly 30 PhD students. He is nominated as a chairman, vice chairman, member of various committees by Government of India. Committed with innumerable number of national and international awards, citations in recognition of his exemplary contribution in the field of yoga. In 2016, Government of India honored him with Padmashri Award, and he's also popularly known as the yoga guru of our Prime Minister PM Modi as well. So with that small introduction, welcome again, sir, for you.
Namaste.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Namaste.
you.
Namaste, sir. Sir, the whole series is all about learning from your experience. If you can share from your personal experience, because you have spent many decades starting from scratch in the field of yoga to where you are today. If you can enlighten us about something that youngsters can take from your life journey, it will be great, sir.
Thank you. Very good. It's a good attempt that you are doing, and I think this should help many of the yoga sadhaks who have been in the path of yoga, trying to grow continuously to greater and greater heights. And initially, when I was very young, probably 6 or 7 years old, I was introduced to Bhagavad Gita, and my uncle, Sheshadriji, he said, now you must by heart Chitta Prajna Lakshana. And I did that because I had tremendously good memory, and then in no time. Like that, he used to come once in 3 months, again give me, and it went on and on. Then he told, okay, you must do little Yogasana and Sarvangasana and Matsyasana, he taught me. Then I started doing that thing for a while. And I did not understand any of the real interpretations of yoga. It went on. Then the whole journey went off. And when I was doing my PhD, 1963, 64, 65, then we had a team of people in Indian Institute of Science who said that what is the real purpose of the research that we are doing? In search for reality. But by doing all the research that we are doing in mechanical engineering, aeronautical engineering, civil engineering, everything, are we going to get at the reality? Everybody's answer was a no. Then what next? It was then we were introduced to real dimension of yoga by one Professor Satnarayan Shastri, who was a professor of chemistry, and more important than that, he's a great scholar of Sanskrit, Yoga Vasishta, Upanishads, and all this. He introduced us the concept of the search for reality, and that started fascinating us because he's also basically from the scientific field. It was easy for us to grasp. Then I started the whole journey, and I was sure that this is the right way to go in terms of. And in the process, I started studying Sanskrit, went into the Sanskrit college, because always I used to love examination. Myself and Nagaratna, Normally people get afraid about exam, but we used to love exam, So we took some examinations and passed several things, that is Kavya, Sahitya, and several other things, Vidvat. So systematically I studied Sanskrit, understanding the Upanishads in its depth. On the other side, we start doing the practice, which is more important. Started doing essentially meditation. A little bit of asana here and there, but more important is meditation to calm down the mind, silence the mind, tranquil the mind, and stay in a single thought for longer time. And in that encounter, we were exposed to Swami Vivekananda and Ramakrishna's, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's great life, how he worshipped Kalima and then did everything. So in Bangalore, I used to go to Ramakrishna Mission and sit there continuously. And Sunday means whole day. I'll be there and then doing meditation. And we had good guidance from many people. And it went on. Then I was convinced, yes, this is the way. And then it continued, journey. Then when I returned to Kanyakumari, so I was the director of training youngsters, and they're called as Jivan Burtis, who come for their life to dedicate themselves for the country. Then I was to teach all these dimensions of total transformation. How yoga helps in raising ourselves from our normal level to become great, super divine human beings. And this was the thing. So I got a lot of experience in dealing with this student and what are the challenges, how much of tamas we all have, how it is so difficult to get up early in the morning, and how Rajas is going to take us away and doesn't allow the mind to calm down or silence, and how Sattva has to be promoted to see that we grow in the encounter. All that one by one. Then people started changing. I started changing. I started learning more and more through interaction. Always in teaching, you learn much more than when you are learning this thing.
True.
So that's how the journey continued. And then we said how to bring that to the school curriculum. Because our Eknaji Ranade, who was there, he said we had to bring this into the education system. Into the Arunachal Pradesh, we went and started bringing this dimension to the children in the Arunachal Pradesh schools. And there, we wanted to find out what is the real purpose of education. It is not merely doing some yogasana or pranayama, mudras, bandhas, kriya. It is to build the total personality, physical, mental, emotional, intellectual, with a spiritual basis. So we put that as the basis and develop this integrated yoga modules. Like for example, class 1, what is it that we have to do for the children? Eyesight are the most important. So eyesight development program. Then voice culture, hearing development, memory development, physical stamina development, creativity development. All this one by one developed, and the children started blossoming like beautiful flowers. So that was a great experience in the process of learning, because I had to do myself and then bring it to the people. And since Swami Vivekananda always said that he was to bring the scientific research, so we started doing the research to find out whether really it is going to help them. When you say when you give these yoga modules that you are doing, whether really it is going to increase the memory or not. So we started doing the simple 10 days thing. We made some calculations and then did some measurements and others. We showed within 10 days the audio memory increased almost 23, 24%. Then the visual memory about 21 to 22%. Then audio visual memory about 19%. Then the short range memory, that is 13%. And the long range memory about 9%. So this is how we showed and brought everything in the scientific dimension. Therefore, we understood that when we bring scientific research, we understand the subtleties and delicacies of various yoga practices. What will help, what doesn't help, how we have to do these things. For all the learning process that we have started doing that, and large number of children started blossoming, and the government was very impressed. And they said in the government schools you have to adopt. We started doing that, systematizing the sort of SOP, the packages we developed, and then started giving. And from 1978, 79 up to almost 90, I think we trained about 65,000 teachers all over the country. And in the whole process, there was a tremendous, learning process in the whole thing. So not only we are giving the information, but we are also continuously growing. This is how the school journey continued. Then we were told by our head, Teknaji Ranade, that you have to go into the higher education, So that's how I shifted to Bangalore and we started working the thing. How to develop this thing. We wanted to actually get affiliated to Bangalore University. And the Vice Chancellor was very, very close to us. He said, yes, we can bring. But which faculty we have to bring, whether it is the field of physical education, they said, no. There is no volleyball, there is no cricket, there is nothing like this thing, how yoga can come into the picture. No. Then they said, okay, art. They said, you don't have any painting or art or line sketches, how it can be in art? It cannot be. There is no music, there is no dance, how we can do that? So all the departments said, no, like this. Almost 1.5 years it tossed down. Finally, we decided, no, we will have a separate department of yoga, and that will come under the Ministry of the Faculty of Science, because yoga is also a science of holistic living. And that's how we started, and the PhD program we started, and it went, and we started developing. And 2002, when Ministry of Education, he came here, then he said, yes, why don't you become a university? That's how we got the approval in 2002. That's called as Swami Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthan, SVYASA in short. But the mother organization is Vyasa, Vivekananda Yoga Anusandhana Samsthan. That was registered in Kanyakumari in 1986 there. So that continues. And that Vyasa spreads more. Now today Vyasa has spread throughout the country. We have about 300 affiliate centers all over the world. We have nearly 80 countries. Vyasa has spread. But everywhere the emphasis is scientific research. Then and we started our university to see that high-end research has to be done. Good publications have to come and all these things. So we started bringing yoga into the field of health. We found that Dr. Nagendra, who joined, he is a medical expert. And we wanted to find out whether some work has undergone. From 1980 for the country, how yoga can be used for meeting the challenges. And unfortunately, we found that there was no proper documentation, there is no publication of research, everything, because we were bred in the proper dimension. Because I had the background of research, and Dr. Nagendra had the expertise in the field of medical. Both of us joined together and started developing. And the major challenge of Bangalore at that time, in 1979-80, was bronchial asthma. The people were suffering from asthma, suffering so much. And we said, yes, let us take this and meet the challenge. And we started developing yoga modules and started giving. And people started improving a lot. I remember I had a wonderful camp in Bangalore. And then we had nearly 250 people who came suffering from asthma at various levels. People were wheezing and wheezing, they are coming. The whole team we had trained to deal with this asthma, what practices we had to do. Normally people think yoga is yoga and they give any yoga, but it doesn't work. I asked them the question, can you say medicine is medicine and give same medicine to everybody? No. Insulin is good for diabetes. If you give more insulin, then it will be hazardous. So similarly, what you're going to give, how much to give, when to give is all very important. This is the learning process that happened. And with this wonderful thing that we had a follow-up of this thing, and people started getting wonderfully well. And then we published that paper in 1985 in the British Medical Journal. And that was the biggest breakthrough. And in one research paper published, it went global. All over the world, people started asking us, what yoga you teach them? Can you come and teach us? Can we come and learn from you? Can we have collaborative research? So, Colorado, we had this thing, and then various places, University of California, San Francisco, in America, Royal Free Hospital, in London, all these things started coming up. Research started spreading, and we had collaboration and started developing. In the process of research, we started understanding what is happening to the body, physiological level, neurological level, biochemical level, all these things one by one. And we started finding out what happens in the brain, particularly what happened to the sleep, everything we started investigating. And in that, my main direction that we found was the work of Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in transcendental meditation. At Harvard with Benson, he had done a lot of research, and had published a number of papers. This is sort of direction. And also we had the direction from Swami Kuvirananda from Kaivaladam. In Kaivaladam, Swami Kuvirananda was the pioneer, and he really started the yoga research way back in 1940s and 50s, and he brought that Yogavijnana as a beautiful thing. So that was an inspiration. Just like Maharishi Mahesh's great work with Harvard University, Vivekananda, these are the sort of direction as to how we have to go. Similarly, at AIIMS, Delhi, also they had done some of the basic research, how they can have voluntary control. And Swami Rama, he came in touch with them, and his wonderful work as to how you can have complete voluntary control or various dimensions. Science studies, Rama, that all were great inspirations for us, and we started working that direction. But we had to use all these things to meet the present challenges. That was our concern. So therefore, we continued these things with asthma, diabetes, hypertension, heart problems. One by one, we started doing that thing. Also understanding the basic physiological changes that occur, what happens in the brain, neurological changes and everything. Then we had some of the top scientists from the world, they joined us, like Dr. Ramesh from Germany, he came and joined. We developed our gene lab, gene expressions we can measure. So we developed this beautiful lab, which is called as Anveshna. And it has got the best lab facilities because there we can measure everything, not only what is happening in the body, at the physiological level, biochemical level, neurological level, brain level, sleep level, gene level, everything. But we can measure what is happening in the Pranamaya Kosha, Manomaya, Vijnana, Anandamaya Kosha. Because the root cause of all these sensories are rooted in Manomaya Kosha as Adhi. That comes down and becomes a Vyadhi. So unless you remove the Adhi, then Vyadhi will not go. That's why all these modern ailments have no solution. Once a diabetic, ever a diabetic. Once you have hypertension, for life. Once you get cancer, days are numbered, have come to pass. So this is the dimension that came out. So that way the journey continues, and a lot of PhD students are working on this thing and bigger projects. Then in 7 years back, our Honorable Prime Minister, he said that diabetes is the biggest challenge today in the country. China is number 1 in diabetes, we are number 2. But according to the predictions, in the next 10 years, we will become number 1, China will become 2. Therefore, we must prevent this. But this cannot be done only with the government. So the government and all the yoga institutions should start joining together and see that it does. That's how we started Indian Yoga Association with all the people, and then using that, we developed a big control diabetes control program called NMB, Niyantrita Madhumeha Bharat. Probably you've heard of that. And that was the biggest ever project, which we finished in 3 months of the intervention, and the whole work was finished in 4 months. and we produced nearly 40 research papers. American Diabetic Association said this is the fastest we have ever seen and the best research for prevalence study and then intervention study. And that helped us. Then we want to take up cancer. Then Honorable Prime Minister said, no, you take up hypertension, which is more prevalent. Then when we were doing that thing, then COVID came. So we had to take COVID and did a lot of research in 4 countries and in India also. In countries outside, we had about 5,000 people. In India, we had about 30,000 people data. And that also came up very well. And we published papers in that direction. Now we are on the journey to take up the hypertension. So now we have started working on that to design. And we have to publish papers in the best journal. So AIMS Delhi has come forward and many AIMS have come forward to join hands. And we are all working in that direction. So research is the main dimension that we give. So what is needed is when we develop ourselves, we must contribute to the society. When we get special powers or special capacities, that should be used to meet the challenges. And that has been the whole direction that we have taken up. Therefore, there are people who are big Kundalini masters and then they awaken the Kundalini, they get some siddhis and other things. Self-development and self-growth they achieve. For example, Swami Rama, he also had a complete thing. He can stop the heart, a few things, everything we're doing. But that capacity should be used to meet the challenges in the society. This is the whole direction we are taking. This is what Swami Vivekananda has said. Be and make, and man making and nation building thing has to be brought forth. The education in the field of health and everything. So these are the things that have undergone, and the university is growing. Then Swami Vivekananda has to go all the way to Chicago to bring this knowledge base back to India. So we said, unless we have the university brought to the United States, then things will not grow to the extent that we really want. Therefore, we worked for 5 years and developed, got the permission for the VYU, Vivekananda Yoga University, based in Los Angeles. So those people who want a degree from the American thing, they can get from VYU. They want from India, they want to do that. Based on that, many countries have started coming up. Japan started, Japan College, China has started, and various countries have started doing this dimension. This way, the whole spread is moving. But people like Swami Ramdev, they are doing it in millions all over. Sri Ravi Shankar have been doing. Jagi Vaste, they are all doing. So we all wanted to synergize our effort. Therefore, we set the Indian Yoga Association, in which all these people were brought together under the overall guidance of our Bhishma Pitamaha, V.K. Sainga. He was the first president. Then the things are going down. Otherwise, instead of working as islands, we should all network ourselves and see that it grows. And the Ministry of Voice also has come forward in this dimension, and we are slowly growing in this dimension. So mutually, we learn from each other and see that we all grow in the encounter continuously to bring this message to more and more. And things are happening. Thanks to our Prime Minister, the tremendous growth all over the country, all over the world is all his contribution. And he is a role model for yoga. And he has set tremendous capacities, which everybody envies. And we are really fortunate to have such a person as our Honorable Prime Minister in the country. And in the G20 thing, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, he has made this. It should all develop itself into a single family, one world, one family, one future. And that is what is needed in the world. And only yoga can do that. Nothing else can do. Any amount of talk will not help. Unless we bring about a transformation within ourselves, then the world will not change. So this is the whole message that Swami Vivekananda has given. He said, be and make. So we have to first transform, then we have to allow transformation. So thank you
very
very
nicely
much.
said, sir. Sir, one question I wanted to ask you. You have seen in last few decades of experience, you have seen the yoga evolve, and also the practitioners also changed probably in a different way. What practitioners were there before and now how they practice yoga is totally changed. So if you want to, from your experience, give like 2 messages or 3 messages for the new generation practitioners, right? So that they can inculcate in their lifestyle. So what it can be.
Normally, essentially, yoga was thought as only yogasana. Hardly there were other dimensions that were emphasized so much. But when Swami Ramdev came, he brought Kapalabhati as a Kriya diamond. And then the pranayama, he started doing that. But when we wanted to bring about a suitable practical thing in our International Day of Yoga, we all brought all the 4 streams of yoga: Jnana Yoga, Raj Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Karma Yoga. All these dimensions to form an integrated yoga module. That is the common yoga protocol that we have developed. Therefore, what has happened is a holistic vision of yoga. And our Honorable Prime Minister gave a brilliant speech about this dimension. Yoga is not physical exercises merely. It's a science of holistic living. It works at all the levels: body level, prana level, mind, emotion, intellectual level. Everything is works, and therefore it's a holistic thing. This is what Sri Aurobindo had emphasized all the time. As Swami Vivekananda said, then Aurobindo said, it is the integral yoga that is needed. You have to work at all levels, at the body level, mind level, emotion, intellectual level. And that's what we had to do. So that is the change in the yoga practice that has started coming up. Compared to what it was maybe 30, 40 years back. And now it is this holistic vision that is coming up. Similarly, in the world of health, it is not just the allopathic system. Now it has to be added on with Ayurvedic system. It is the integrative medicine that is coming up. Everywhere this integration is coming up. So with this in mind, our Honorable Prime Minister said, yoga is not just to develop our Jivatma to Paramatma. This is one aspect. But more is to bring all the countries together. That is, yoga is joining. We have to join all the countries together to form one single world family. And that is the new interpretation he brought out about the yoga.
Fantastic, fantastic. So probably this is the message for all the youngsters to bring everything together, not just the aspects of yoga, but all of us together. Like Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam is the essential message. That's what we have to work towards. So with that, thank you so much for joining us today, sir. Thanks again for sharing this valuable knowledge with all of us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wish you all the best and hope that experience of other yoga masters also you are going to project and see that it will all help one another to develop.
Definitely, sir. Definitely. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Good luck. Thank you.